Arcade archives bring so many titles to Switch with such frequency, it's easy to lose track of them all. Not least because, while I get that every game no doubt has its fans, many of them are either obscure or just generally underwhelming. Now and then though, the guys from the company with the mission of bringing everything ever to modern consoles do spring something more noteworthy upon us, and Trigon most definitely falls into that category. This 1990 Konami vert has, as far as I'm aware, never seen a console release, and the fact it's now available on Switch is very exciting. Now, if you watch this channel, you've no doubt played at least one Arcade Archives title, so I won't focus too much on the port job. We all know what we're getting here. And like all the other releases, this comes with autofire options, caravan and high score modes, online rankings, a single save state, and of course that all-important Tat8 display option. All of which we've come to consider standard on these releases by now, but which, when you actually think about it, is really nothing to be sniffed at. One option of a little more note on this release is the usual inclusion of Japanese and North American versions of the game. While these can often be barely distinguishable from one another, in this case Trigon, the Japanese version, uses a checkpoint system upon deaths, while Lightning Fighters, the US version, allows players to pick up wherever they left off. This can, depending on how you approach these games, prove to be of massive importance, and it's great to see both options available. For what it's worth, by the way, while checkpoint systems are generally much maligned by the majority of players, Trigon's is a little fairer than most, and while it can be awkward and difficult to recover following a hit, it's not the absolute death knell for your hopes it is in something like Gradius. So onto the game itself. Trigon has your standard for the time military theme, with the enemies slowly becoming increasingly alien as you progress. The backgrounds are not terribly original or pretty, encompassing the standard seas, forests and military installations, but they do all link on from one another, with each mission clear seeing you drift over onto a new terrain following the boss fight. There are 9 of these stages, with stage 8 featuring a kind of boss rush gauntlet interspersed with short sections of regular enemies. There is a decent range of regular enemies, although you will see them repeated, albeit with occasional additions or variations all the way through the game. The bosses start off as fairly simple, but of course gigantified tanks and planes, but gradually become more esoteric looking and challenging. It probably won't surprise you to hear the word challenging in a review of an arcade shmup from 1990, and if challenge is what you're looking for, Trigon will certainly deliver. This is still most definitely in the classic shmup category, with bullets usually being sparse but speedy. Some later bosses do send out bullet patterns more akin to those in, say, early Saikyo, but these moments are very few and far between. Something that may take the more Danmaku inclined among you a while to get used to is the fact that it seems almost 90% of the bullets are targeted, and coupled with the fact that your hitbox is your entire ship and your relatively plodding movement speed, squeezing up the sides of the screen or relying on your ability to nip through narrow gaps are tactics that are, more often than not, likely to end in tears. Talking of your ship, you only have the one, although you do have a few options regarding how to modify it as you play. You start with your regular pea shooter, which isn't as weak a starting option as in many games of this type, and can indeed in a pinch be used to take down bosses. Destroying a complete wave of red enemies triggers the vital shot power-up drops, however, and these take 2 forms. Either a slight spread shot indicated by an S, or a narrow stream of missiles indicated by a V, with the pickup icon alternating between the 2 options as it floats around the screen. Picking up more than one of the same pickup will increase that shot's power, but switching does not result in the new weapon matching the previous one's power. Bomb pickups function similarly with the 2 options, a dragon bomb or a lightning sword, alternating after being uncovered, usually beneath ground-based enemies. The dragon bomb, first of all it just looks super cool, and secondly is in my experience better for dealing with a large host of main stage enemies as it swirls over the whole screen, but doesn't offer you much immediate protection. The laser is better deployed during boss fights and can be used as a last-ditch save to protect you from most shots coming at you head-on. One further pickup is the star icon, which can be uncovered beneath what look like military phone boxes. These are points bonuses and increase in value depending how many you've picked up in a row. The first one is 1,000 points, the second 2,000, and so on until they max out at 5,730, because that's the number of, well, because they just do. These stars make up the main way to score big in Trigon, and staying alive to maintain your streak is vital to those seeking to climb the leaderboards. There is one further pickup, although it only appears 2 or 3 times in the whole game, and weirdly only in Trigon, not in Lightning Fighters, and it is the Titular Trigon itself. This weapon rotates around your craft and locks onto enemies automatically, and is a massive get if you can hold onto it. And when you have that, plus a strong shot and a healthy stock of bombs saved up, you can feel like a real king in the castle. And I think that is a big part of the reason why I found Trigon to be such an addictive experience. While it is no doubt challenging, you're always aware both that you can build yourself up to this hardcore enemy killing machine, and also that you can, especially if you're playing using the Japanese version's checkpoint system, squeak through most situations in an underpowered state. Therefore if, and it is a big if you can maintain your power level and keep hitting those points bonuses, you can go very far indeed. Of course, to paraphrase my national poet, the best laid plans of mice and shmup fanatics gang aft agley. But again, that is both the appeal of Trigon and in many ways the whole shmup genre. So what we have here is a first console version of an often overlooked arcade classic, and one of Arcade Archive's most significant releases to date. For me, it doesn't do quite enough, particularly in the scoring department, to unseat Blazing Star from its position at the top of the ACA pile, but it is a thoroughly addictive addition, and if, like me, you're a sucker for verts, especially ones that can be used with your flip grip, Trigon is an absolute must-own. Due to its slightly uninspired visual style and simplistic scoring, I don't think it's possible to score it at the very top of the scale, but it's still a solid 8 out of 10, and if you're a fan of shmups of this style and era, at this price it ought to be an absolute no-brainer to add it to your collection. After just a few days, the leaderboards for this one are already busier than a lot of the ACA titles, and I really hope some of you will be joining me on there. Let us know what you think below, and thanks as always for watching. See you next time. Cheers.